you'd see post-independent, it was now necessary for African countries to have institutions of higher learning, primarily TVET institutions, that would be able to develop institutions that will create employment. So it was from this understanding that TVET institutions were now being seen or were now being perceived as institutions that will promote or that will act as areas of incubation of new or emerging industries. So around the issues of funding, our government of Zimbabwe made a deliberate position through an act of parliament. They developed ZimDev, which I will expand as Zimbabwe Manpower Development Fund. Zimbabwe Development Manpower Fund is mandated to, it has a number of functions. I will just probably reflect on one or two functions that relate to the discussion. ZimDev Fund is responsible for the development of TVET institutions, then also is responsible to provide research grants. Then in post-2018, our government also trying to complement the funds that were coming from ZimDev, they also made a deliberate position by amending the Manpower Development Act, which gave rise to the formulation of this TVET institution. Manpower Development Fund was amended. Then there was a new, there was a few objects of the act that were added in order to boost the fund pool towards the issues of research and development. A deliberate position was made that 20% of funds being generated or being received by institutions be directed to research and development. So this is now coming in as another way, as another channel of funding research. Then also, like it has been indicated, as we borrow from Agenda 2063, also there is a deliberate position to allocate a budget allocation 2% towards research funding. But as indicated by my colleagues, panelists here, what we have noted in terms of funding researches in Zimbabwe, yes, funds are directed to issues that address economic interests of the nation. But amongst institutions, as we make an observation towards the realization of this research and development effort, there is a challenge that we see in our local context in Zimbabwe, micro competition among institutions, which hinder the collective goal to achieve research activities. So how are we addressing? We are, as institutions, we are establishing a number of networking among institutions, networking within the region. I would also put to light. We, as a country, we also did a deliberate position to restructure our education system. Our higher education system is previously had 3 pillars. We had research, teaching, and community service. But these 3 pillars were the ones that I said were attributing more to the development of the skills that were merely employees. But the need to have new facilities, new industries coming from the indigenous people led to our government made a deliberate position to add 2 more pillars to these 3. We now have innovation, we now have industrialization, which within my local capacity of a polytechnic, that is solely enshrined or housed within my portfolio. Now, how are we seeing the benefit is strengthening research and development of these 2 pillars? We are now seeing, we are now mandated as institution with one of the objects of the Law Amendment Act of Manpower Development. We have been given operational independence as an institution. Operational independence in terms of having other commercial streams of revenue that should come in to support our activities, whether it's training, whether it's research activities. Around this issue, government has also made a position that as an institution, from the bankable ideas that comes from research activities, we should be able to come up with startup companies and incubate them. So the government of Zimbabwe went a step further to develop centers of excellence that we as TVET institution, whenever we get a bankable idea, we can work with these centers of excellence. I'll just name but a few. We've got the National Biotechnology Authority, which is a center of excellence for autonomous applications of biotech in Zimbabwe. Then also, we are witnessing the establishment of innovation hubs within higher tertiary institutions that include also TVET centers in Zimbabwe. The development of this innovation hub is to incubate ideas, register and patent them, as well as drive commercialization. So in our context of Zimbabwe, around the issues of startup, we have also borrowed from what is being said from the National Blueprint. We have also went further to redefine that. We manage a startup company for a period of 3 to 5 years, giving professional guidance from our industrial partners, from our local capacities and institution. Now, when we then come to a point that this small startup company is now self-dependent, we will then reballate them to operate as independent entities, but as an institution, we will retain 20 to 25% of the capacity holding, with the interest to always maintain our seed money level to fund other upcoming startup companies. Then I was also requested here to also comment on the issues of how do we see this research that we are doing at our institution, of what significance in terms of impact are they playing in our society. We, as a country, we look at TVET institution. An observation was, before the amendment of the act that I've referred to, and also the coming in of other legislative that I've indicated, there was mistrust from industry, from the government, of not believing in the TVET institutions. So a number of trial processes were done. What we are now realizing is TVET institution, government is now encouraging the development of consortium, and they assign key economic research gaps to those consortium. For example, I will just mention a few. We, as a country, we used to depend on Germany in terms of the manufacturing of our vehicle number plate system. We have managed to solve that through this consortium. Then also there's a deliberate position. Government, Zimbabwe is an agro-based economy and also mining. There's a deliberate government position to allocate the key economic activities that requires research and development to this consortium. This year, 2024, the TVET consortium was also allocated the responsibility to drive farm mechanization for small-scale holders, after we have realized their impactfulness around the general economy. Then I would also comment on the issues of developing capacity in terms of research and development. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say, we have noted that, yes, we are trying to have a self-reliant in terms of economy, but obviously, in terms of globalization, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say, yes, you might try to run your own race, but you'd see product from the developed countries also coming into Kenya that poses serious competition to these startup companies. So how do we then intend to bridge this gap? we, through the Amendment Act that I've also referred to, we have been given the position to venture into international partnerships with companies, with other institutions of higher learning that also include TVET institutions. Okay, so I'm proud to say, as Harare Polytechnic and also other sister institutions in Zimbabwe that also include Bulawayo Polytechnic, to mention but a few, we have established international offices that are responsible for the running of these international partnerships. For Harare Polytechnic to date, we've got an arrangement with some Asian institutions that we've got our students that will train on a joint, on a dual accreditation program. They will do 50% of the program in Zimbabwe, and they will do 50% of the time in these countries.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think a clap is really very explaining. Now, I don't want to take a lot of time because of the time constraint. I will just want us to have the 4 items that I mentioned have not been addressed adequately, and I will give each of the professors here to answer questions. Number 1 will be for Professor Soleil. You have not given us clearly what is the impact of research in Africa. We have, it's very low. That one is a fact. What could be the reasons? You gave us your reasons a bit earlier, but we wish you can, in about 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, tell us that. And 2, there is this money called research and book and research allowance, which you're giving in Ghana. Do they really use it? I mean, if I get my money in my bank, most likely I'll go and I'll fuel my car. How are you able to deal with that? Because these are facts that are real, and you know, we don't want to live in utopia. So I would like you to answer just those specific questions in about 2 minutes so that we can move to the next.
Thank you very much. So on the book and research, you saw that I was smiling at you. Because some people, of course, will not use it for what it's meant for, but majority do use. And the truth is that when people are given the money, they use it to support publications. Because a lot of the institutions have some requirements for publication. You have to publish in some particular journals and so on and so forth. So that money, sorry, everybody gets it. On the second one, on the impact, right? You said the impact of research, why we are saying it's low. I think I said it earlier, maybe I should clarify that the reason our research has not made a lot of impact is that it is not relevant to our local situation. That is all. We don't identify problems which we will solve through research and innovation. That is a big difference. This is what Asia has done, and they're very far away. Yesterday, I thought about the auto rickshaw. I haven't seen it here, but I believe it will be in the cities. The auto rickshaw. I don't know the popular name for it here. Where is Madam Moderator? That simple, is it tricycle with tuk-tuk, exactly.
Yes.
Look at the tuk-tuk. It's a very simple thing, but they developed it in Asia to solve a lot of problems, which we have adopted. And all we can do is learn how to repair them, fix parts and all that. Thankfully, there's an innovation in Ghana where some technical institute has modified it. They have made it more spacious, and then they've used solar to power it. That's a vocational and technical institution that did that. But before I sign off, I just want to inform you that the Vice Chancellors of the Technical Universities of Ghana decided to promote research and innovation through an annual research conference. Okay, so we call it the Applied Research Conference for Technical Universities in Ghana. We had one this year. It was annual, but the VCs have just decided that we'll make it biennial. So going forward, we'll have our next one in 2026.
Thank you, Professor.
And we'll invite you when we get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Andala. Thank you, Professor Andala. Yours is interesting. The question of funding. We had three questions that we asked you to deal with. The first one is, how is your funding done? Because you can see from Zimbabwe it's different. I've seen from Ghana, they're even having allowances, which I don't think are in the universities in Kenya. I don't know what yours is like, because you are talking of funding. The first thing is, how is your funding mode? The second one, the funding priority, and that has been the problem. You imagine that you have this amount of money, and therefore, if more university applied and the University of Nairobi applied, then they should be given equal share. So what informs the decisions on which areas to fund? Because then it addresses the issues that Professor Sole said. You are just doing research because it's supposed to be done, publish or perish kind of situation. So what would you tell us about that? And the third one, of course, is I think you've talked about the GDP Kenya being at 0.8 out of the targeted 2% of the GDP that should go for research. So maybe tell us your funding issues, and particularly what are your challenges in the funding situation?
Thank you, moderator. And as already mentioned, we receive our funding from the government, and we also have bilateral partners of whom we also get some funding. So if you put entirely, that is from our partners, and the one from the government is what is leading us to 0.8%, because we know of institutions like Kenya Medical Research Institute. It receives a lot of funding. We've got Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. It also receives a lot of external funding. If we put all that into perspective, is what we are looking at 0.8%. On funding priorities, what usually happens is NACOSTI, which regulates research, sets the funding priorities based on the government of the day's agenda. Currently, food security and agriculture is high on the table. Digital technologies are high on the table, among others. So we do not decide. However, in cases where we have a bilateral partner who are interested in funding specific component, let's say inclusivity, we also leverage and do put out calls to be able to fund. So the process of accessing these funds is we put out a national call. Some are running currently, and they are open to all institutions to apply. And of course, it depends within your area, if they fall within your area of research. Typically, a research runs for 3 years. We've got others that run for 1 year, but majority run for 3 years. So we put out the call, we get reviewers, they review the applicants' proposals, and then thereafter, we determine the level of funding, because at times we get a high number of applications of which you cannot be able to fund all of them. The other thing that I was asked was funding to TVET. I'm glad to mention that as of this financial year, we are going to fund TVET, and we are going to put out a call that is targeting TVET institutions in Kenya. The sole reason is we knew we had a TVET fund, but it was not operationalized. So that mandate has been brought to National Research Fund. So when we put out calls, we will ensure that they are multidisciplinary, and we bring in the aspect of having a TVET institution also included for purposes of rolling out, and also an industrial player for purposes of commercialization. And then I've mentioned about access. Access is so long as you are Kenyan and you're above the age of 18, so you are eligible to. We've been actually been purposeful, and we need the youth more specifically, because we've got a lot of youth who are doing research out of the formal spaces. So we are bringing them together to work under an institution, because as National Research Fund, we cannot give money to an individual. We give money to an institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think for my brother, Engineer Sassi, we'll just want you to quickly, in 2 minutes, tell us you've talked of commercialization. What is the experience in Zimbabwe. Is it real? And if it's real, what have you really, from your researches, what can you tell us? You can hold on and say, since these researches have been done, or innovations have been done, what are the benefits so far?
Okay, thank you, Prof. In terms of the commercialization, yes, the pace at which we look forward to benefit as a nation, it's taking a slow pace, but we've got examples that tells a story that we are moving in the right direction. I would pick two institutions, for example. We've got Mashingo. In fact, our polytechnic in Zimbabwe, they are located in provinces. So we've got a polytechnic in each province. So we've got Mashingo Polytechnic that has managed to make a submission to the government, and the research was funded. They are setting up a fruit and veg processing plant, which is going to be the largest in the region, the province. Then I've got also Mutare Polytechnic, which has also made a submission. This one is based in Manicaland. And also we've got Mutare Polytechnic and Mutare Teachers College. They've both made submission to the central government, and their research submissions were approved and funded. Agro value chains for Mutare Polytechnic. Then for Harare Polytechnic, we have also made submission to the central government around the issues of coming up with an automotive center of excellence. The submission has been approved. So these are the key indicators that we can use for now, that yes, the pace at which we are moving is slow, based on our key economic demands as a nation, but at least we are moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akla, for this brave. So I just, because of time, we went to ask questions. If we have questions, maybe 2 or 3, we can have a band, several bands of questions together. We need someone to have a microphone across.
Can I have 50 seconds just to say something I didn't mention? 50 seconds.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that Ghana, the Commission for TVET, also has instituted a Ghana Skills Development Fund. And every year there's a call to support for people to apply and do research and innovation in TVET.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's have the first question at the corner. Then the second question will be yours. The third question will be for the special lady behind. The fourth question will be for the gentleman. So please remember your number. Okay.
Mine is to my gentle brother from Ghana. Just a little bit of deviation from what he said, that researches conducted are not too environmentally related. But I do have a little bit of deviation. I'm not disagreeing with you totally. You're right, but there are some exceptions. With practical examples, in Nigeria, students have developed drones ready for commercial use. Nobody picked them up, only for us to read that those guys have been picked up by Asian countries. Nigerians can testify to that. We have an automotive company in Inewe, east of Nigeria, where we have a lot of TVET graduates working. Sorry to say, how many governments buy vehicles from these guys? Rather, other African countries buy from them. Like I said yesterday, we have a lot of persons who have done a lot of research in the field of oil, like in PTI Warri. But when they are looking for the oil workers, they go to the Asian countries. Like I also said a few days ago, we developed a fuelless generator in my institution, which I funded. It runs for 21 hours without stopping. We are looking for commercial use. Now, though my government is supporting at the state level and at the federal level, they are all done. So there are a lot of researches in my country, which people within the country do not take for granted. But we hear them from Asia. We read in the pages of newspaper. BBC sent people from Europe to interview us. But the television stations in my country have not. So that comes to the issue. There are a lot of researches that are actually related to our environment. But this issue of once it is not a white skin developed thing, it's not useful. So, question to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
If researches are relevant to the environment, but they are burdened by the environment drivers, how do we therefore make the environment drivers to once again believe in what comes from the black man?
Thank you very much. You don't answer now. Let's get all the 4 questions. Question number 2. Number 2 was the gentleman behind, I think.
There is one who already has a microphone.
Who is that who hijacked the microphone in advance?
Oh yeah, I already have the microphone, so maybe
It's a
I can
Kenyan,
go
so
on.
don't worry.
My name is Felix Mungatu, the Chief Principal, Nyandarua National Polytechnic, Kenya. And I want to confirm to Professor Ndala, TVETs, we are doing so much in research. Specifically, Nyandarua National Polytechnic, we are doing quite a lot. This year, we held our 2nd international research conference. We invited your organization. Unfortunately, you did not attend. Partly, I want to concur with Professor Elias' sentiments that we need really to put more emphasis on applied research, which are geared towards solving societal problems. Because I think in much of our research, and especially, I'm not being biased, but I would wish to say much of our research is too academic. But definitely in TVET, and I would wish Professor Dalla, you have a taste of what we are doing. Much of our research is geared towards solving societal problems. Unfortunately, as rightly put, not much funding has been directed to the TVETs. So mine is more of a request, a comment. Let's focus more funding to the TVETs because there are a lot of innovations which are lying idle there and they are waiting for commercialization. Then number 2.
Make it short, please.
Yes. Again, directed to Professor Andala, connected to the mechanism of awarding the funding. After that, do you do a follow-up to ensure that the results findings are implemented? Because I think that is another area where we have a gap. So that we don't just spend funds for research and we don't follow up to ensure that the findings are implemented.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The lady behind, please. Sorry.
Thank you so much, our panelists, for their insightful presentations. I have a question. Before that, I would say Nancy Michelle Engoke from Kenya School of TVET. When we look at research, especially in Kenya, we have very good findings. The first gap is what we do when it comes to implementation. Who is to drive the implementation process? Because it also needs funds. Then, to summarize, we are looking at TVETs producing products that can be consumed at the international level. So what is the TVET sector? What is ATUPA going to do to ensure that we control the influx of the foreign products and we support and enhance our TVET products? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So thank you very much. Name is Professor John Ousu of Florida Technical University, Vice Chancellor. We know that research demands a lot of funding. And the industry is ready to fund research. But then, how do we get industry to come on board? This is my question. How do we get industry to be interested in our research so that they can give us funding for us to be able to, undertake the research? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll give each one of us, starting from Professor Sole, and please make it as quick as 1 minute. We just have some 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. My brother from Nigeria, I think I didn't say we are not doing it. We have definitely achieved something. But to get there, we need to do it a bit better. So I would say that we can get the innovations recognized and accepted through sensitizations programs. And I mentioned that, for example, we can have open days. I'll give you a situation that we had in my institution. We had the director for TVET propose an open day. And when we did the open day, you won't believe it, we didn't even invite the industry. But when the media covered the event, they saw some of the things that were showcased at the open day. And some of the industries have identified some projects because they were interested in the prototypes that had been developed. You see, what we need to do is to get the industry interested in the prototype. Most of the things that we have done are at the rudimentary stage. But once they see, like what I'm talking about, they have engaged the students and they say they're going to get them to develop the products further. So that is what I mean. Governments are struggling. They wouldn't mind us. But if we engage industry, they have all the money. Sometimes you meet them, they say, well, I have $2 million, I have $3 million. I don't know what to support.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Sorry, if I'll add something small. Databases.
Please, make it 30 seconds.
All right, 30 seconds. What I'm suggesting to you is that before you do any research, there are some databases that have up-to-date information on your specialization. So go there and review whatever is there. You will see what has already been done, so you don't waste any effort. And then make your publications media-friendly. Unfortunately, we publish in such a way that the people who can promote what we have done do not even understand. So if at best you can do a version that will be media-friendly. Thank you.
Thank you, media-friendly. We'll not forget that.
In this country, we had the national polytechnics, which were turned into universities, and they were meant to train people in BTech, and they went back to Bachelor of Science. To me, it was a disservice. We need to have those both lines, the one that pushes towards the academia, and this BTech pushes towards industry. So something that I'll be happy about is through this forum, let's push, because in countries like Korea and Japan and China, they are recognizing that. And we won't have everybody going towards getting a PhD and you cannot even be able to fix your own vehicle in engineering. The other thing that I'll also wish to mention too is on implementation. For us to be able to implement research findings, we need community because they are the consumers. And if community is not on board, again, we'll fail. The other thing that I also wish to mention is the role of TVET. The role of TVET is to mass produce whatever research innovations that come out. So I'll be keen on working with the TVET sector as we grow the manufacturing sector in Kenya. And then the final question was on, we have got two types of research. For the industry to come on board, we need to go towards applied research, which solves industrial problems. But we've been focusing on basic research, which is aimed at teaching. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know that there was a question for you, but you can give your final remarks.
Okay, thank you. If we are to be relevant as TVET institution, publicity and visibility is very much important. In Zimbabwe, we've been given the green light to come up with campus commercial radio station, and they are proving to be very much of significance. Then a question was asked, who is to implement the results of the finding? My simple question is us. Us as society, us as institution. How do we, how to come on board in terms of funding? Just be relevant. If you are not relevant, you cannot come on board. So as an institution, let's develop ourselves as relevant players. Then develop ourselves in a contextualized, relevant, that will identify ourselves with industry. Otherwise, thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you very much. I think with a lot of humility, I want to really thank the members that have come in. We have some few things that we can go home with. One that is obvious as an African situation is that funding is still low in research at Kenya at 0.8%, which combines even money from outside, from the recommended 2% that is recommended by most bodies, including UNESCO. We also have a bad mentality that has come up, has been explained properly by Professor Solé, the publish or perish, rather than publish and benefit. So that we just have a situation in which our vice chancellors and all our Senate requires that we must publish. So we keep publishing just to make sure you have the papers, but we don't really don't publish what is relevant. We also have the issue that has come up with the industry partnership, which is a critical issue. I was privileged one time to go to Shenzhen Polytechnic when I worked as a UNIVOC member for Rift Valley Technical, and I was there for a month. I think we were with some members who are here. Shenzhen Polytechnic, just a polytechnic in Shenzhen city, is twinned with Huawei. You can't believe what those two people do. Those two organizations. A whole polytechnic. Just a polytechnic. It's not even a complete university as it should be, but it's, of course, university status. It partners with Huawei. They actually share the lecturers. They share the factories. We were taken to Shenzhen and we were taken to Huawei. And you would see the equipment and the technology that Huawei was developing at that time, like 5G, which had not come by the time we were there in 2018. The university professors were actually deeply involved in that research. So I think we have to go to the industry. There is money in the industry. I've always told people there is money out there. It's actually how we deal with the industry. Capacity building has been mentioned as a critical component, but above all, my Nigerian professor there mentioned, the biggest problem is that we do researches that are irrelevant to our needs. You are doing research that is irrelevant to the needs of your society. I don't have a problem having research being done on nuclear energy, but is it relevant for Togo? You know, is it relevant for other countries? So please, it's important that we fund what we need, not funding what is presented to us. The question of innovation hubs was mentioned, particularly in Zimbabwe, and we really want to request, and that's come out very clearly, applied research. Most of the researches that we do in most universities, maybe 90%, more than 90%, the professors can confirm that, is not applied research. It is just a traditional research that we have been doing. Therefore, more books, more papers, more shelves being filled, no results coming out of it. So applied research should be given more funding, and I think Professor Andala, that would be something that we may need to remember as we move on. Ladies and gentlemen, with those very many remarks, it's exactly 2:02, and I want to ask you to give a hearty clap for these serious panelists here. And I don't know how to do it. We can do 5 factorial. Okay, let's go. 1. Oh, you love the one. The last one is the one that everyone gets right. Okay, thank you very much, and we really appreciate you, and have a nice lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Of
Tano.
course, also clap for me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edwin Tano. Thank you so much to our panelists. And thank you to all of you for just sitting in to listen in. Dr. Tano said it is a serious group of panelists. Do you agree? Do you agree? Let's give them another round of applause, please. Asanteni sana. You may now leave the stage. And thank you so much for speaking to us this afternoon. Now, we are getting into another session just before we break for lunch, whereby we will be awarding, we'll be having the Atupa Awards, and I'll be inviting on stage the SG, Dr. Jao Samba, who will take us through the 2024 ATUPA Awards.
Thank you. Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you, distinguished delegates. We appreciate your patience. This is a key pillar of the mandate of ATUPA as we promote policy advocacy for skill development in Africa. This edition is on the Awards of Excellence, and there is a 3-page document that is being circulated. I hope you've all grabbed a copy, where it gives the thorough background of the ATUPA Awards of Excellence for Development in Africa, which started way back in 2014 when it was newly inaugurated. Now, basically, we do this to distinguish personalities and organizations that have made outstanding contributions to technical education and socio-economic development in Africa. Now, these champions, we call them, they are from industry, they are from businesses, they are from social enterprises, but they are also from education and training sector. So it is an opportunity that we do at every ATUPA conferences to appreciate these distinguished personalities. So the 3-page document that had been circulated, we are sorry it was supposed to be part of the program, but we are now circulating them for your own copies. I hope you have grabbed one. Oh, it's been circulated. 3-page, Nation. The secretariat is going round. Yeah. Thank you. Yesterday, we had the privilege to welcome the managing director of Equity Bank, that is the Equity Group Holdings Limited, James Mwangi, representative, who gave that inspiring keynote. Ambassador Mary gave that inspiring keynote address to the audience. He has been nominated to receive this year's Award of Excellence. And this is after consultation with the ATUPA outfit, spearheaded by the LOC. So that had been done, so we are not doing any ceremony to that effect, but we want to appreciate and put it on record that that was done yesterday. Shall we just give a round of applause for Dr. James Mwangi, and to say that we really appreciate all the support that he had been given to the TVET sector, but especially here in Kenya and around Africa. The second award of excellence is on the second page, and allow me to read the citation. It goes to Professor Leila Abubakar. Professor Leila Abubakar is the Vice Chancellor of the Technical University of Mombasa and the current and outgoing chairperson of ATUPA Executive Board by the time we hold our elections today. Professor Leila Abubakar is currently the Vice Chancellor of TUM, that is Technical University of Mombasa, a public university in Kenya, well known for its role in science, in technology, and innovation. She's a professor of biochemistry, having obtained her PhD and MSc in microbiochemistry from the University of Nairobi under the German Academic Exchange Service, DAD, and European Union fellowships, respectively. Professor Abubakar began her professional career as a researcher with the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, KMFRI, before moving to the University of Nairobi, where she rose through the ranks of academic and professional leadership. She's an active researcher and has won several research grants and awards and published many scholarly articles in referred national and international journals. This led to her being accorded the University of Nairobi Dean's Award for Scholarship and Research in 2011-2012. She was also awarded first prize at the Molecular Parasitology Conference, you see the scientists, conference held at Woods Hole, Oceanographic Institute in USA, and that was in 2002. The first prize of the ICIPE Governing Council Research Award 202. The second prize for research dissemination on energy, water, and climate change by the National Council for Science and Technology, among others. She has maintained a dynamic academic and professional links with several universities and organizations and fostered collaborative projects that have contributed in strengthening capacity in the region. She has successfully supervised and examined over 40 postgraduate students. Special appointments include being the current chairperson of ATUPA from 2020 to date, member of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms in Kenya, where she chairs the Tibet Committee that is from 2022 to 2023. She's a trustee at the Kenya Education Network Board from 2020 to date, local scientific coordinator for the European Union EduLink Energize Project 2014 to 2018 that she served. She also served as the Secretary General of the African Association of Insect Scientists from 2011 to 2015. She also served as the Treasurer of the Biochemical Society of Kenya from 2007 to 2011. She's a member of the implementation team for development research uptake in Sub-Saharan Africa Network. She's the co-chair of the African Nutritional Sciences Research Consortium on PhD training, a member of Innovation Fund Committee for Agriculture and Agribusiness under the Agricultural Sector Coordination Unit, and she's a member of the National Steering Committee on Fisheries Policy and Legal Framework that culminated in the enactment of the Kenya Fisheries Management and Development Law. Kindly give a round of a resounding applause to Professor Leila as she is being open.
You know, when I was hugging the two ladies, I was telling my friend here, Mwangi, that I hope you're not feeling jealous. You know, so indeed, this was a pleasant surprise. I was not expecting it. I was just told a week ago to provide my profile, but I thought it was because of the ATUPA conference, as usual. I just really want to appreciate and thank you all for the support and for recognizing me. Indeed, I'm really touched. I'm really touched. As I said, I was not really expecting it. Mine is again to thank the Atupa family. Let us remain united as a family. Let us support each other. And as you heard, I'll be leaving this position today afternoon after the elections. But I've learned a lot. The friendship that I've had with each one of you. In fact, nowadays when somebody asks me for who is the principal of this, everybody else, I already know them. And I'm like, oh, that one is theirs. So the friendship that I've been able to foster throughout my time as the chair of Atupa, indeed, it has been a very, very successful endeavor. And I just feel that I'm proud of you all. I'm very proud of you all. And I know together we will be able to take Atupa to the highest heights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. We move on to the second recipient of this prestigious award, and that is on the third page. It goes to Dr. Glory Mutongi, the Chief Principal of Nairobi Technical Training Institute, Kenya. Dr. Glory K. Mutongi is currently the Chief Principal of Nairobi Technical Training Institute and the National Trustee for Kenya Association of Technical Training Institutions, KATI. She has close to 20 years' experience in the TVET sector, having joined Nkibuni Technical Training Institute as lecturer in the Department of Business in 1999 after a short stint as a high school teacher from 1996 to 1988. She was promoted to serve as Dean of Students from 2000 to 2004 before being appointed Deputy Principal a year later. She was appointed Principal in 2006 and later rose to the position of a Senior Principal of the same institution until 2018. In February of the same year, she took over her current position of Chief Principal at the NTTI. Through her leadership while at this institute, she witnessed expansion in terms of students' population and physical infrastructure and was instrumental in its attaining the ISO 9001-205 at the second tertiary institution in the country. In the years 2009 to 2012, she steered the Nkibuni Technical Training Institute to be ranked position 5 twice in the last 3 financial years in performance contract out of 68 institutions. As the principal of NTTI, she has grown the population from 5,000 to 10,000 and made it to be one of the premier TVET institutions in Kenya. The faculty grew from 150 to 250 trainers due to the diversity of the training programs offered and very, very high enrollment. To meet this demand, she endeavored to develop infrastructure in the form of 3 modern tuition blocks, thereby creating additional 30 training rooms, hence allowing tuition to be implemented effectively. She steered the institution to position 1 in performance contracting under the category of TVET institutions. The academic performance of the institute is currently the best nationally, standing at 88.5% on the research and innovation front. The institute has won many awards, both on the national and international spaces. 2 cases in point are the position 3 it won last year in the applied research category for the WFCP, that is the World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnics, awards, and position 1 in automotive engineering category for the local chapter of the World Skills Competition through her leadership. I want to add that NTTI became also the winner of the pitch competition that ended here 2 days ago. She was appointed to the Presidential Education Task Force on Corona Pandemic Control and Mitigation. The task force successfully managed to put in place measures that allowed educational institutions to operate during the pandemic with minimal interference to the school calendars and infections. More so, Dr. Mutungi oversaw the change in curriculum from knowledge-based education and training to competency-based education and training. This was long overdue as most graduates from TVET institutions were increasingly not able to fit into the job market due to lack of requisite practical skills. She has also been involved in curriculum development and recently, as a member of the CBC task force and as a key stakeholder in the development of recognition of prior learning policy framework. Dr. Mutungi has served as chairperson of the Kenya Association of Technical Training Institute. I just want to say that Mr. Mwangi succeeded Dr. Glory as she had completed her tenure from 2017 to 2022. As chairperson of CATI, critical reforms were implemented in TVET sector. This included standardization of the tuition fees charged per trainee admitted in any TVET institution within the country, entitlement to government funding for each academic year. The trainees also became eligible for a higher education loans board, that is the HELP funding facility, which initially was being given to only university students. The impact of this was increased enrollment in TVET institutions across the country, coupled with high completion rates. There was a paradigm shift in the attitude and mindset of parents and school leavers towards TVET. This resulted in diversity, in equity, in inclusiveness, and enthusiasm in the TVET sector space. During her tenure as CATI chairperson, she was appointed through the Office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya in 2018 as committee member of the committee that came up with the structures of transitioning of TVET trainers from Teacher Service Commission to the Public Service Commission. The scheme of service for trainers was developed and implemented, therefore addressing the issues of staff stagnation in one job and lack of promotion, which had demoralized staff in the TVET sector. Dr. Mutungi served the association at different capacities as vice chair, as treasurer, and as secretary of the Mount Kenya region, as well as chairperson sports and recreational Mount Kenya region. Her tenure as CATI chair, the association was able to come up with a strategic plan for 2018 to 2022 that has seen the association achieve milestones in its operation, one being the review of the association constitution. She also sits in several councils and boards, among them the ATUPA, of course, Kenya School of TVET, and World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnic, which is a global organization. She's a member of the National Sector Skills Committee, which is to oversee skills development in the country. She has also served as a member of the board, Kenya Universities and Placement Service Board. Dr. Mutungi won the Chair's Award in 2020, an award that was awarded by the World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnics. In the year 2024, that is the current year, she has won another award from some organizations in leadership and diversity inclusion. Dr. Glory is a visionary and exemplary leader who leaves a mark wherever she serves. Therefore, I believe that Dr. Glory Mutungi, through this testimonial, will be considered for this honor and award. We now welcome Dr. Glory Mutungi to come forward and receive the award from ATUPA.
Congratulations. delegates have no ones, I'm really humbled to be the beneficiary of this award. I want to attribute it to the Kenyan principals. They are the one who put me in the limelight. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Atupa, for the award. May God bless you.
So, understanding, as we have announced, the current executive board is having their tenure ending today when we go for elections. And we wanted to take this opportunity to really appreciate them for the support that they have been giving to Atupa, especially my office. I couldn't have done it without them. So this is the token of appreciation to the executive board, and I would like to call on the chairperson again, Professor Leila Abubakar, to come and receive the award from the Secretariat, a token of appreciation, something that you can hang somewhere in your office or at home to remember the services that you have given to us. Dr. Mudondo is coming next, followed by Dr. Tablo. We just wanted to open this one so that we will see how all of them look like. That is exactly how they look like, and it's going to all the executive board members. Thank you. I guess we don't open. Dr. Mudondo? Dr. Mudondo? Congratulations and thank you again. Thank you. Dr. Tarno, Dr. Edwin Tarno, another senior executive board member of Atupa. Dr. Samson Adegoki, I hope you are coming back. We are really going to miss you. Mrs. Watema, someone to receive. Someone to receive Professor Dr. Engineer Benedict Mutua. If he's not around, can we have a representative from the university to come and collect the award on his behalf? Watema is not here. We have a representative of, you are speaking for Watema. For TUK Vice Chancellor, is anyone receiving it? Anyone from Kenya? Can you come and receive Watema? Mr. C.T. Wood, our father, our uncle, our everything at Atupa, the longest serving, and who deputizes for the Vice Chancellor, TUK in our meetings. Mr. C.T. Reverend Professor John Frank Eshon, Takoradi Technical University Vice Chancellor. Can you kindly come forward, please? Professor Ben Honyinuga, Vice Chancellor Hotech University. Kindly come forward and pick a well-deserved gift from us. Dr. Glory Mutongi, of course, an executive board member, kindly come forward and collect this token of association, appreciation from us. Mr. Daniel Nyirenda is from Zambia. He had left this morning, so he had already received his gift by me in the morning, but we can still appreciate this.
Thank you very much.
Professor Spirit, gladly. Professor Spirit, please come forward from Lesotho. Another executive board member, a senior one for that matter. Mr. Zukia Muvalo, Lilongwe Technical College in Malawi, another senior member of ATUPA, kindly come forward. Engineer Professor Hamidatu Darimani, Rector at the Redeemers Polytechnic, Associate Professor of Agricultural Engineering. Dr. Stella Awo Mukunya, kindly come forward and take your well-deserved gift. Mr. David M. Mwangi, LOC Chair, thank you, thank you, thank you. He represents the Kati Association at the ATUPA board. Mr. Mwangi, we cannot keep quiet. We can continue to thank you for everything that you are doing for ATUPA. Thank you. And finally, they say there is somebody called Jahu Sambafal to receive also as
I think we should give her a standing ovation. Put your hands together for her. Please give her a standing ovation. Give her a standing ovation. Put your hands together. It's not easy to coordinate.
I'm humble. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come and pick. Asante. Asante Nisana. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. That's it? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yes. That's it? Yes.
Engineer Tsatsi, Acting Vice Principal Academics, Harare Polytechnic in Zimbabwe. That's Professor Elias. Yes. Followed by Dixon Andala. Thank you. Professor Dixon Andala will be receiving his gift next. He's the Chief Executive Officer, National Research Fund, Kenya. He has left. Okay. We have Engineer Tsatsi, Acting Vice Principal, Academics, Harare Polytechnic, Zimbabwe. That name, Tsatsi. Huh? Thank you so much. I think we are done on the awarding session.
So delegates, we are actually coming to the end of this conference.
The end of this 3-day conference. I hope, as many speakers told us before, that we are going home better. That whatever we've learned here today, we are not just going to sit on it, but we're going to implement and make ourselves better, make our people better, make our countries better. Are we in agreement? Are we in agreement? Okay, if you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. Great. So now we've come to the end of the conference. A lot to take home. It's been under the theme Revolutionizing TVET in Africa, Embracing Innovations for Sustainable Development. Yes, and so I will invite Professor to officially do that. Just close this 3-day conference, then we will have a word of prayer. We will have the national anthem, then have a word of prayer. Then later, we will all leave this room and leave the heads of institution to have a meeting here. Prof?
Thank you very much. Our people say kilicho na mwanzo lazima kiwe na mwisho, si ndio? Sorry. So I just want to declare this meeting officially closed. I want to declare this conference officially closed. And I think we need to raise, so we can now rise up for the national anthem.
Thank you. Show me a better national anthem. Show me a better national anthem. Nigeria. No.
Let's bow our heads for the closing prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before your throne this evening, thanking you, Jehovah God, for being with us throughout this conference. We want to thank you, O Lord God, for enabling us to stay safely in good health throughout the conference. We have come to the conclusion of the Atupa conference, dear Father. We want to give you thanks for the precious moments that we have shared together as delegates, together as participants. We are grateful for the wisdom, O King of Glory, the connections that we have made, the impact that we have made, O King of Glory, the experiences that we have already achieved that have enriched our lives, enriched our nations and our minds. Lord, we ask you to bless each one of us, all participants, O King of Glory. May they be blessed in a special way, even as they go their various paths. As we go back to our various homes, may you bless each one of them in Jesus' name. We want to thank you, Father, for the many insights and knowledge that we have gained in this conference. Guide us, O Lord God. Empower us, Jehovah Father, that we may go and make positive impacts in our nations, in our institutions, O Lord God, in our communities. Help us to carry forward the spirit of collaboration, O Lord God, and the unity that we have as family, as colleges, King of Glory, that have come together to ensure that TVET actually works in this continent of Africa. As we part
We entrust our thoughts, O Lord God, our actions to you. May we find strength in your guidance and courage in our convictions. We pray for your protection grace to be upon each individual, their families, and their work. Bless us, dear Father. Even as we depart, dismiss us with your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. In the name of Allah, the most merciful and beneficial, it is you who we worship and who you will seek help for. We pray that this discussion we had during this conference that will be beneficial to individuals and to our nations and our continent at large. May you give us the wisdom to implement some of the decisions that we have taken in this place. May you also give us the opportunity to be better than what we are today, so that we should be a continent that would be proud of all over the world. We thank you for sparing our lives from the time that we started this program to this time, and we pray that we that will come far from near will go back to our respective destinations, inshallah. Subhanaka rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
My name is Jahu Sambofal. I'm a citizen of the Gambia in West Africa, and I'm the Secretary General of the Association of Technical Universities and Polytechnics in Africa, known as ATUPA. Now, ATUPA was formerly called CAPA, that is the Commonwealth Association of Polytechnics in Africa, and it was formed in 1978 when the Commonwealth Education Ministers met in Ghana. And this was in 1977. They wanted to have a body that was going to be responsible to take care of the TVET ideals in Africa, and an umbrella body who was going to do that. And this is how the association was formed 1 year later, calling it CAPA. Along the line, we have transformed to now a continental organization with 21 countries in Africa, the latest country being Senegal, a francophonie, simply because when we open up our doors for non-Commonwealth countries to join, Senegal was the first to jump and grab that opportunity. And that is why we have the francophonie starting with Senegal as part of the network of countries of ATUPA. Now, the rebranding started the whole process in Kigali, Rwanda, and this was in 2019. And as you know, we have been having these annual events of conferences every year on a rotational basis, I would say. Last year we were in West Africa, in the beautiful city of Accra, Ghana, and this year we are here in NAIVASHA in Kenya, because it's a turn of the eastern region, since we have all the 4 regions represented in ATUPA. So next year, 2025, we look forward to being hosted by one of our partners, one of our member countries in the southern part of Africa. So that's where we are. In terms of network, in terms of expansion, we are growing. And for now, we have 21 countries represented with 246 institutions. These are post-secondary institutions, polytechnics, universities, especially technical universities. We have about 12 technical universities vice-chancellors from Africa present at this conference, together with rectors, principals, heads of institutions. But yes, universities, polytechnics, colleges of TVET institutions.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. My name is Professor Dr. Engineer Benedict Mutua. I'm a civil engineer by training. I am currently the Vice Chancellor at the Technical University of Kenya. The Technical University of Kenya is currently hosting the ATUPA, that is the Association of Technical Universities and Polytechnics in Africa. But my coming in here was first to talk about research in TVET, and the focus that I've presented in the paper is that there is need to have research in the technical institutions because TVET is now the driver of the socio-economic development for our countries. When you realize what is happening in the recent past, a number of young people are joining the TVET colleges, and the reason is that they have found that there is variability in the sector. A number of industries are going to these young people because they have the skills. But what is important is to have a turnaround, that is for the universities to collaborate with the TVET, that is the TTIs and the TVS, that the competencies and the skills that we impart on these young people is based on research. For socioeconomic development, whether in the technical aspect, in the entrepreneurial world, we need to have people who have been trained based on research work. So we are realizing that a number of young people are preferring to go to the TVET. Not that it's because it's cheaper, but it's they're seeing when you come out of this TVET, you can contribute to the socioeconomic development. But for us to improve on the quality of training in the technical institutions, we need to embrace research, and that's the call for the universities. So in this particular association at TUPA, it brings experts across the continent of Africa, different countries, different scholars, and my call is for all the universities, polytechnics to work with the TTIs so that we have holistic training where these people are given the skills, the quality, and research-based output. Otherwise, I think we have a space under TUPA to reach out to African countries so that we can speak the same language of socio-economic development for sustainability. I think that is my call for this particular space that we have through ATUPA. Thank you very much. Yes.
Where do you see this in the next 10 years in relation to, as far as the food production in Africa is concerned?
Thank you very much. I think, as I was speaking, I think ATUPA has woken us up as a continent. In fact, Africa is no longer a sleeping giant; it's a giant that has woken up. As I talk about the agricultural productivity, now we are looking at agriculture that is based on technology. And this is a time that we need to embrace technology in terms of agricultural productivity. And I think for the next 10 years, I'm seeing a continent that will be able to feed himself because now we are embracing technology in the agriculture. We are not going to use a normal traditional agricultural productivity, but an agricultural productivity that is based on innovation and advancement. And that's the only way these countries in Africa can feed themselves and even export. In fact, I'm optimistic that Africa will supply food to other continents in the coming 10 years if we all embrace technology in the food production.
Thank you. I'm David Maina Mwangi, the Chief Principal of the Nyeri National Polytechnic, and I'm also the National Chair, Kenya Association of Technical Training Institutions in Kenya, and I also represent Kenya as an executive board member in Association of Technical Universities and Polytechnics in Africa. And I would like to say that we have been having a conference here, the 54th of the Association of Polytechnic and Colleges in Africa, and Polytechnics in Africa, see from Sunday up to today. And what I want to say is that the Kenya Association of Technical, the Association of University and Polytechnic, in fact, Africa, was started in 1977 by Commonwealth countries, and it was started by the Minister of Education in those countries. And that time, it was being referred as the Commonwealth Association of Polytechnics in Africa, but later on, we realized that that name does not resonate with the technical institutions, the polytechnics, and we changed the name to ATUPA. Basically, we are looking at revolution of skills so that we can make Africa independent in terms of economic development. This conference has been a success, and we have been having a lot of panel discussions in thematic areas, and we're also having keynote address in areas that we feel that we need to dig more information, and also we had a lot of paper presentations. So people have actually been able to gain a lot of knowledge, and as a result, there is a lot of things to learn, and people are sure they'll be able to implement what they have learned in this conference. We had over 10 countries participating from the West Africa, the Central Africa, Eastern Africa, and also the Southern Africa. Going forward, ATUPA is looking for money from the African Union that they can be able to give scholarship to areas of skills development and also for people to learn more in terms of skills. Our next conference is going to be determined this evening, and it is actually going to be in the southern part of Africa. So we expect countries like Botswana, Lesotho, Malawi. Those are the possible hosts of ATUPA conference in the year 2025. We'll be having our 55th conference for ATUPA. Thank you very much, and let us meet in the next year conference. Thank you.
My name is Professor Leila Abubakar. I'm the chairperson of the Association of Technical Universities and Polytechnics in Africa, ATUPA, which transitioned in 2021 from CAPA, that is the Commonwealth Association of Technical Universities and Polytechnics in Africa. ATUPA started way back in 1978 as CAPA, and later on, as I said, because we wanted now to involve all the countries in Africa in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, we decided now to transition and become ATUPA so that we can also include other non-Commonwealth countries. Indeed, the main reason why ATUPA was established is to foster this collaboration and strengthen the technical and vocational training in the whole of Africa. We normally hold meetings every year, and this conference is one of those meetings. The only time we didn't have a conference was during the COVID pandemic, and thereafter we had a hybrid one in 2021. Currently, in this conference, which is being held here in NAIVASHA, we are having 150 institutions which are represented with over 400 delegates here, and from the different countries in Africa. I believe this conference is a good opportunity for our members in the different institutions, different disciplines, to share their experiences and be able also to come up with tangible solutions to the issues that are affecting them. So by the time we are through with this conference, there's a lot of networking that is going on, collaborations have been fostered, and I believe the panelists and also the key speakers have given us information which we can take home and be able to implement. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Engineer Hamzat Kazib Andewale from Nigeria, and I'm from Osun State College of Technology, SAOK, Southwest Nigeria. I'm very, very much happy to be here in Kenya, East African countries. It's a very, very, very interesting story at ATUPA International Conference holding in NAIVASHA Resort. The Kenyan people are very, the hospitality is very good. And I want to say this about TVET programs in Africa. The only way the Africa can grow and match the developed world is to embrace the TVET activities. Skills, not degree. Skills, not degrees. That is the message in Nigeria nowadays. So let's have a practical work, the skills for our youth, so that we'll not be running into Europe countries, advanced countries. We can develop our countries. We can develop our countries. And I want to say, throughout the presentation of research works of my colleagues from African countries, I've gained a lot. and there's been a lot of networking among ourselves since about 2 or 3 days I've been in Kenya. And I want to thank the organizer of this program. They have done wonderfully very well. They've taken us to another home, as if we are in Nigeria. So thank you very much. Well, I think if we continue like this, I believe there will be a kind of changes in the narrative we had before. There have definitely been changes in agriculture, in technologies, in manufacturers industries. We can do it as an Africans.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Spirit Tladi. I'm the rector of Lerotori Polytechnic in Lesotho. So basically, we have attended this annual meeting of the heads of institutions of technical universities and polytechnics, basically to share ideas on issues related to policy making, issues related to program development, on many other issues, basically day-to-day running of the institutions, and pertinent questions that arise in our space, in particular which relate to skills development for the young generation of this continent. So basically, that is what we are here for, basically to exchange notes. Yes. No, this is going to grow because it's not every country that is represented, even though this is to a large extent has been established by all the heads of countries. But not all countries are represented in this. So therefore, we aim to reach each and every country and every technical institution to be part of this, because it is through TVET that this country, this continent can develop. So I think it's going to be huge in the next 10 years.
Good morning. My name is Metembe Kevin Ndlovu from the city of Bulawayo in Zimbabwe, Southern Africa. I am a student at Bulawayo Polytechnic studying civil engineering. The whole thing that is going on in this place is about us, the youth. I am a foot soldier in the whole discourse. I started my journey in research not more than 2 years ago. Attempted my second write-up, a research paper, to this conference. Unfortunately, I didn't make it, but got an invitation to be part of the reflection session. And from where I stand as a young person, I think the future of Africa is great if all the youth get the opportunity, or rather the privilege that I've had to be part of this conference. It is quite a breath of fresh air to know that plans are being made, plans that recognize us as the future, to participate in building Africa to where it is supposed to be. So in the next 10 years, I hope that we will have more engagement from young people contributing research and being part of this forum, exchanging ideas, because we really do need the cross-pollination of ideas across Africa so that we can be able to unite, combining our strengths and becoming the great that we have to be, being big. Thank you so much.
My name is Francis Wanji. I work with VVOB Uganda, Education for Development, and I'm very glad to be here. I work as education advisor. The reason I'm attending ATUPA 2024 is because as VVOB, we work with the National Instructors College Abirino in Uganda. This is an institution that trains instructors of vocational institutions. We work with them to develop the capacity of lecturers to teach agriculture and entrepreneurship practically, but also to teach other subjects practically and definitely using technology. I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad about the work that ATUPA is doing. What I see here, the benefits I see here are in the area of networking. I've made quite a number of contacts that are involved in TVET, different spheres, and I'm also very happy about the way institutions are adopting technology in teaching, technology in research, and technology in networking, and I believe this is the future of our continent, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
My name is Diverson Mutarika. I work with TVET Authority in Malawi.
I happen to be the Senior Registration and Accreditation Specialist for TVET Authority in Malawi. This conference, ATUPA conference, is one of the most important conferences in Africa, as one way it has brought up together a range of quality assurance bodies from across Africa to share knowledge and experiences which will help us to develop systems or strategies to make sure that TVET in Africa is of high value or is perceived to be of high quality. I would like to take advantage of this to advise the youth that they should take TVET as key in their dreams, because the economy of today depends on the skills. So the youth out there, I would like to encourage them that they should consider pursuing a TVET career, because the economy in which we are living today, in one or the other, has the basis of TVET. So TVET is everything, and they should not doubt, because today's TVET, we're saying TVET for wealth creation. So wealth creation is hidden in the quality TVET. Otherwise, we would like to encourage ATUPA to continue conducting these conferences, and to our advantage, TVETA, Malawi, had a roundtable discussion with the ATUPA Secretary General, where now, as TVET Authority, we are becoming a member, an associate member in the ATUPA body. Thank you.
My name is Nguma James from Kenya, Michuki Technical Training Institute. I'm the research coordinator, and as a young person being in the TVET institutions, I'm actually very much encouraged to attend the second ATUPA conference here in Kenya in NAIVASHA. It is actually a platform for academia, and not only academics, but as well, it is also a place where people network. It is also a place where ideas are tested, ideas are actually challenged, and people get to actually advance their research. Now, research actually is actually a dreaded field for most youth, but I really want to encourage the youth that research is something that is doable, it can be done, and I'm here, and I've actually witnessed a massive exchange of knowledge from people from across the continent and across the world as they present their papers, get critique, and actually present what is actually solutions for the African continent. So my advice to the youth and generally to the public out there is that as Africans, we are indebted to ensure that research work excels to very, very greater levels, and such platforms are actually where we actually get to grow. Encourage everyone to come and join us here so that we can actually make Africa great through research and academia. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Babangida Abubakar Al-Baba, the Chairman Council of Heads of Polytechnic and Colleges of Technology in Nigeria, as well as Director of Katsina State Institute of Technology and Management. I am a board member in ATUPA representing Nigeria, and I'm here to grace the 2024 ATUPA International Conference in Kenya, which started since day before yesterday on the 26th and is ending today, tomorrow, God grace, in this lovely town of NAIVASHA in the NAIVASHA lakeside. And the conference is about sustainable development in Africa, specifically using TVET. The whole world now is changing to skills. And not only in Africa, not only in our countries, for example, in Nigeria, in the whole world, skills is the most needed job opportunities that we are looking for in the current dispensation. A lot of disruptive technologies are here, available now. Things that have been happening in the last 3 years in terms of industrialization, in terms of technological advancement, in terms of innovations, are all driven from the innovative technological innovations that are coming from some of these TVET institutions. And looking at the manpower gap and the need for finding a lasting solution for our younger ones to be able to be relevant in our economic development, we need to provide more sustainable TVET system so that it will be able to consume a lot of our youth, give them opportunity
in terms of job opportunity as well as creating job for themselves and for others. It's only when you have skills that you can be able to provide job for yourself and for others. So the most important thing is now, this theme of the conference is apt. There is no better time than now. And I believe for us in Africa, we need to embrace this revolution, we need to embrace these changes. If you look at our current population in all Africa, majority of African countries, the youth population is at the high side. More than 50% of African populations are youth, and they are the driving force. They are the future of this continent. So we need to provide an avenue for them that they can be able to strive, they can be able to flourish, and they can be able to lead this continent to greater heights. So when you look at this in the TVET, one good thing about the TVET structure is not only in technological aspect, in all aspects. For example, agriculture. Africa is an environment where we have abundant land, we have a very good environmental climate, we have a very good weather. When you go to look at this country, anything that you grow here, crops that you grow here, it comes. In Nigeria, same. Most of our African countries, so we should be feeding the whole world. We shouldn't be hungry with this abundant natural resources that we have. So putting agricultural perspective and aligning it with the TVET system, TVET training, I believe is the way forward to create jobs, not only for our younger ones, but even other continents should be coming here to look for a job. Because the whole world needs Africa. The world cannot live without Africa. We have an opportunity to take our mantle as a continent with the God-given natural abundant resources. And let me give you an example. In Nigeria, for example, any crop that you know, in any part of the world, it grows in Nigeria. We have the climate that is suited to that environment. So why are we hungry in Africa? Why are we jobless in Africa? This conference is to give us the opportunity to discuss within the African continent, how are we going to use the potentiality that we have? How are we going to explore this opportunity, God-given natural opportunities, so that we can be able to lead this continent to a greater height? And I believe the conference is given that opportunity. We are linking up, we are discussing with all stakeholders in the industry. Whatever you are doing, you must first understand what the requirement of the industry needs, so that we'll come back and make sure that we have been training our younger ones in our academic institutions, and the government policies that will support that also. So if you look at the whole conference, is bringing government policy makers, academic industry, academic environment, as well as the industries, so that we are going to come up at the end of this conference a communique that how are we going to collaborate and making sure that we are able to achieve what is expected of us as a continent. And I believe the spirit, some of the discussions that we are receiving, the keynote speakers, and the kind of responses from all of this conference sessions is really, I believe it's going to really change the narratives. And this conference is going to change most of the way we think in Africa, and I believe it is going to give us a great opportunity so that we can be that country, that continent that we're all aspiring to be. And I would like to call on others that henceforth in the very near future, the next conferences that we are going to have, we are going to, will be remembering what we have discussed, what communique have we, what decision have we taken, so that we can measure some of the achievements. So next year, we may be asking ourselves, based on the agreement reached today, what have we done in Nigeria? What have we done in Kenya? What have we done in Malawi? So we can be able to see where the gap is, and from there we build upon that. And I believe if we give ourselves a time span of 5 years with deliverables and milestones achieved, definitely the sky is not even our limit. We'll go beyond skies.
My name is Francis Udoka Ndemkoha. I'm a lecturer and Federal Polytechnic, Nekede, Owerri, Nigeria. This conference in Kenya, Atupa Conference, has been a major eye-opener. I think Africa has arrived. Africa has arrived, rather, and with what has happened in the last couple of days, I believe for the first time, I'm seeing
people gathering together with that commitment, not just to litter words all over the place at a conference, but to actually commit to taking action right from this conference. You would realize that TVET, which is Technical and Vocational Education Training, has for a while been struggling for its own relevance. People have a way of trying to denigrate, dishonor TVET trainees, skilled workers, and all that. You will even see people who say, I can't get a skill because I'm a graduate. Skilled work is for illiterates or uneducated people. What we are here trying to do is to say that TVET is education on its own, is a form of education. We are now trying to say, bring in all other elements of education to make TVET work. You see, there are six keys, six very important features of TVET, which needs to be given attention to for us to be able to drive it to where we desire. And the major one of it is international acceptability, international penetration. If our skilled workers are able to produce technological advancement, if we are able to churn out good products that can stand their test of time, that can compete with the very best globally, then we have arrived. That's number one. That international aspect. Then there's accessibility. There is what to call consumer specific. If your product should meet a need. All right. If you're just producing to probably display in a theater or just to get applause, it's not serving the purpose. So we'll find a situation where research is carried out with so much resources, but it doesn't solve a need. People just conduct research probably to have their names written on it. So I wrote a paper that tries to look at language as an innovation in driving TVET systems. Why did I look at this? The point is, normally people feel that because we are a continent with major countries having passed through the painful era of colonialism, people tend to judge an intelligent person by probably ability to speak the lingua franca of that country. So in that paper, we try to look at the fact that governments needs to enshrine policies that will drive TVET by ensuring that the native language of every country is also the language of instruction, so that TVET practitioners will stop feeling less than others. They stop feeling intimidated. They can also communicate effectively within the community, so that they can't say, oh, because you can't speak English, you can't speak German, you can't speak French or Spanish, therefore you are ineligible to be educated. No, that's not true. If the language of instruction is in the native language, there will be more motivation. You go to China, their language of motivation is their native language. You go to France, you go to most other countries, even some who are bilingual or multilingual, like in my country, Nigeria, people are forced to learn English as the only yardstick of being regarded as intelligent. I don't think it's right. So we're trying to say, if government looks at it, bring in policies that will motivate even the least in quotes, intelligent or smart person, but they have skills, they have talent waiting to be unbundled. They can go to these TVET institutions, get the training, and be able to contribute to the community. Basically, I think that's the crux of this conference, and I believe we've been able to achieve a whole lot.
My name is Dr. Elizabeth Obinim from Ho Technical University. I am the Dean of Student Affairs for Ho Technical University. I came for the program with my Vice Chancellor and the Registrar. We are a member of ATUPA, and we've been attending this conference since then. The three of us came for the program. It was revitalizing. It was very educative. and we have learned a lot. Myself, I have learned a lot from all the technical institutions and the polytechnics that have come. Where I have seen Atupa to be in the next revolution or in 10 years to come is oneness, where all African countries will come together and trade with each other and become one. Where when we are flying to each other's country, it will be boundaryless and it will be one and move ahead with everything that every institution wants to do, to carry out. All the projects, all the ideas, all the research will come to life so that Africa will move ahead as one continent. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Professor Khalid Abul Hussein. I serve as the Dean of Faculty of Engineering and Technology in the Vaal University of Technology. This is not far from Johannesburg in Gauteng province in South Africa. I'm really privileged to be in Kenya attending the Atuba conference. It's really a prestigious conference, and I have learned a lot. It's my first time attending the conference on behalf of my university, and we look forward to for more conferences like this in this caliber. Focusing on skills development, which I think it's the way forward, especially vocational skills, skills that are related directly to the industry and to the technology and the use of different processes in the industry. Yes, I have learned a lot from this conference, from the interaction with my colleagues coming from all over Africa. Every African country has got its own issues and context, so we managed to really share these ideas with each other and suggestions for solutions. Yeah, so I think the conference adds a lot of value on the way that Africa is moving to, which I believe really critically that we move into skills development, especially, as I said, vocational skills across the different fields, science and technology. So definitely I'm going to attend the conference again next year, wherever it is going to take place. And I'm very happy in Kenya. I'm very happy with the hospitality that I have seen. Really, Kenya is a beautiful country. Thank you very much.
I am Stiferia Matere, Head of Human Resource and Administration at TVET Authority, Malawi. I am privileged to have been a participant for this year's Atupa conference that has been held at Lake Naivasha in Kenya. I was also privileged to be one of the panelists of the very first panel discussion that was held here at the conference on the opening day of the conference. The panel discussion was centered around unemployment rates in the TVET sector and how we as employers have come up with strategies to mitigate on these issues of unemployment. To begin with, TVET Malawi is a body corporate that is responsible for regulation, promotion, and facilitation of TVET in Malawi. And one of the programs that TVET Malawi has come up with is the Agriculture Technical Vocational Education and Training Program, which we refer to as the ATIVET program, which is a course that was established in August 2014. And the relevant actors and institutions that support the implementation, that have supported the implementation of the ATIVET, TVETA itself, the National Council for Higher Education, and public ATIVET institutions such as the Malawi College of Fisheries. There are currently 2 agriculture courses that are being offered, the first one being horticulture, which involves mango and pineapple farming, and the second one being aquaculture, which involves fish farming. A competence-based training a competence-based education and training was done with an aim of preparing the participating institutions for effective program implementation. And so far, there have been plans to integrate ATIVET into the Malawi agricultural sector-wide approach and qualification frameworks to ensure that ATIVET is implemented in a systematic approach. The Malawi agriculture sector-wide approach is the Malawi's National Agricultural Investment Plan, which is directly linked to the Malawi Vision 2063, pillar number 2 of agriculture and commercialization. So one of the strategies that we have agreed here at the Atupa conference as one way of mitigating unemployment among the youth is to provide or beef up support in the informal sector, which helps to create blue-collar jobs employment. This ATIVET program in Malawi has helped the youth quite a lot because it has created jobs. At the same time, it has achieved to impart skills on those that have been trained in the informal sector, and also it has provided jobs for those that have been employed in the industry of horticulture and aquaculture. Therefore, bringing up the socio-economic status to greater heights that the country has not been meeting in the past couple of years before this program was brought about. It should be noted that the introduction of informal sector-based trainings have been a very key strategy in as far as the socio-economic status of Malawi is concerned. As you all know, the statistics in Africa here are that 80% of jobs that are offered here in Africa emanate from the informal sector, which is why we are calling out to other African countries and Africa as a whole to have collaborations with other institutions that are already into such programs, such as the ATIVET program, and they can actually make collaborations through links with TVET Authority Malawi, and we can therefore have a platform to discuss how and how far we have come with our program and how much we have achieved in the process up to date. So this Atupa conference was quite impactful, quite insightful in the sense that as African countries came together, we have shared so many strategies that will help us to mitigate the risks that are associated with unemployment for the youth in our African countries. You see, one of the things that we forget is that Africa is so blessed. We are so blessed with land, we are so blessed with natural resources, but I think growing up, we have grown up with the idea that formal employment is the way to go. You take a child to school, formal education, and the next thing they get employed. But I think in this day and age, that should not be the mentality of us as leaders of today. And as we redirect that same that same expertise that we have acquired this far, it is important also to make sure that those that are coming right behind us are guided in the right ways of being resourceful in our communities. Therefore, I would like to call out to parents, to guardians, to employers to come together and make collaborations on ways of how we can lessen the impact of unemployment among the youths in our various countries. Thank you so much.
Well, my name is Professor Emmanuel Obere. I'm the rector, Delta State Polytechnic, Otefe Ogara from Nigeria. Today's theme of this ceremony, conference, the economic development as championed by TVET, is quite apt. And I see it in a way that it will promote the continent, promote TVET, promote skill, promote entrepreneurship in the continent, and actually coordinate a kind of continental unity. And in the next 5-10 years, if we go by what we propose and what we discuss here, Africa could be something people will be talking about, like China, India, South Korea. But we actually we talk about Africa, talk about African unity. I think ATUPA is one of the very vehicles that is actually promoting African unity. People come from different parts of the world and unite together and foster unity and developed mechanism for promotion of techniques, promotion of skill, promotion of entrepreneurship, promotion of technology in Africa, to take Africa out of the dark room of consumption into the light room of exporting technology and made goods in Africa. So it's a good thing. Well, from what I'm saying, the TVET institutions and head of TVETs are highly challenged, and they are passing these messages back to their countries and their governments and the industries. If we pursue this, in the next 10 years, we will go from largely consuming continent to a production continent, because technology is not a magic. Industrial installation is not a magic. There are already startup companies in Africa. We can talk about a company like Paystack, Flutterwave, and a lot of other inventions that are coming up in Africa. And Africans are doing quite well within Africa and outside Africa. With this promotion from TVET, I see Africa in the next 10 years becoming a mini China, mini Indian, and mini South Korea. And probably in the next 15-20 years, we could be talking about Africa, one of the African nations or a number of African nations being super economic world powers.
My name is Dr. Adam Karia. I'm coming from Tanzania. In fact, I'm a rector of the Water Institute in Tanzania. I've been here in NAIVASHA for a ATUPA meeting. This is a platform that gives room for people from the continent, African continent, to join together for discussion or discussing all issues about TVET. We are discussing here about TVET. It's about technology, it's about innovations, but also how to train people, the African people and youths, to become good innovators, to become good technologists and engineers. We understand real that the Africa can only move if we have a good personnel, human capital that will deliver the wheel of development to all of the African nations. And this is why we have been gathering today here in NAIVASHA. And this has been taken us like 5 days, because we've been here since 26th of August, and we're going to end up by tomorrow on 31st of August. And if you see the platform itself, we had opportunity to meet people from the whole continent. Just very few countries are missing, but the representation is like we have the whole African continent here in NAIVASHA. And things were very good. A lot of discussions has been here, and we hope in 5 to 10 years, Africa will develop in the context of TVET, technology and innovation.
My name is Winnie Ruguru. I'm a student, a fifth-year student at the Technical University of Mombasa. And we're here for the ATUPA conference that was held from the 26th, that was on Monday, till today, which is the last day. And ATUPA, as it is one of the biggest TVET conferences that is being held. What I've learned from my experience in ATUPA is that ATUPA is one of the upcoming and very helpful events and conferences for the TVET students. One thing that I've really taken from here is the connections that are made here. We have people from all over Africa, Zimbabwe, there's Ghana, there's Nigeria, every African country you can think of, there's a representative. And one thing that I'm most grateful to is the connections that we've made here. Another thing is seeing what other students in TVET institutions are doing. They're really doing really good. There was pitching, the session for the students, and it was amazing and really nice. You could see the ideas, the innovations that the TVET students have come up with. with. And another thing that will probably be grateful to ATUPA for is just the level of ideas that are here. And you can see that there's growth, there's students. I'm a student in TUM, and I've interacted with students from other countries, and I can see where they are in terms of learning and what their curriculum offers compared to ours. So I will forever be grateful to ATUPA. This is my first time attending. I know there's been others, but this is my first time attending, and hopefully not the last, I suppose. Yes, I would definitely love to be here next year. The connections made are insane. The world has a lot to offer. ATUPA, in the next years, I see it growing. Yes, that's one thing, because every year there's progress made from last year. It's never the same every year. There's progress made, new people come, different countries show up. So in the next years, I hopefully see that ATUPA will be something big, and especially for TVET students. In most countries, let me say Kenya, where I'm from, TVET students, TVET institutions, we're not really that upheld in the society, but with such events, you can see that we cannot even compare to other institutions that are termed big. I would say that the TVETs are offered a very unique platform in such events. Yes, and I'm very grateful to ATUPA. This is once in a lifetime opportunity. If you get an opportunity to get here, ATUPA is held annually. So every year there's that. So kindly make sure you check all their platforms for this information. Make sure you attend. This is one thing you will never regret attending, and you will forever be grateful. Thank you.